What do you want to talk about?
Our lunch today.
Let's go. All right.
Delicious as always. Have we mentioned it on the podcast before?
We have it. So this company, what are they called? Indian Twist, right?
Indian
The
something
Twist.
twist.
The
The
Twist
twist. It's just
Indian
called
Grill.
the twist.
And
Yes,
there's
yes,
only
yes,
a
yes.
few locations, but the
Their
newest
most
one being,
recent one is
yep,
in Milford, Delaware.
yep.
Slamming Indo-Chinese fusion. But we really just get like the Chipotle type Indian curry burrito bowls.
So it always cracks me up when we go and we get when we go to any sort of like ethnic cuisine and they're always like, "Oh, how like what kind of curry or spice?" And we'll say, "Spicy." And they'll go, "It's really spicy." And for whatever reason they do it more so to you than me.
I'm mad. That makes me so upset. Like, do I look like a bitch? Don't
But
answer that.
honestly too, you like we this is the same dude who typically
Every,
makes our shit. And he
every
gets you
time.
every time. I said, I don't know, bro. This is really spicy.
I think I just look real gringo.
Well, and so like it's not though, like I would say it's like our level of spicy. It's not over the top going to fucking kill you, you know.
Right.
It's
It's not.
definitely not to the point where it's like, you know, the Indian level of spicy sometimes is way hotter than like our level of spicy. And I think that's just what he was trying to protect you from. But I feel like that's a very, very modern,
I
like
took it. I
modern
took it from
spice.
a place of love
It
from
was a
him.
place of love. You
He
don't want to lose two weekly customers.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
But you know who my weekly customer is? And then my bathroom because it makes me have to shit
it
real fucking good.
so on my way home, it's about what a 50-minute drive in. Like I had the bubble guts like a motherfucker.
Those
Um,
those those farts be spicy.
it was spicy, but that's about it. I don't feel discomfort.
Do you think it seeps out? Like, is that why it's a spicy fart?
Maybe.
And then follow up question. Okay, hear me out. This is gonna sound gross, but
Yep.
it's not uncalled for. If I eat a ton of peanut butter
Hmm.
and I get my salad tossed, but she's allergic to peanut butter, do you think that any of that kind of it gets in there at all?
So probably. So you think about it like this, right?
Uh-huh.
You pass the shit through your body, right? And inevitably, you're going to shit it out. So why not? Like a particle, like a nut particle.
Still a full
And
peanut. I don't
I want.
remember eating any peanuts.
I remember. I want to know how many people have gone into like anaphylactic shock from eating
From
ass.
I would try
Right?
it.
Is that a statistic?
I would try it. I want to find. I would eat like Riley Reed's ass.
Sure.
And like if she ate, what am I allergic to? Apples. I'm allergic to apples. If she ate a ton of apples, I would give it a try.
So on bust.com, if you're allergic to peanuts, is it safe to rim a partner who eats peanut butter?
Shut up.
I like how this is, and it starts with this is a real question. Uh, if you're very allergic to food like peanuts and your partner eats the food, is it safe to rim them? Should I have an EpiPen on hand? Uh, Nuts for anal. Um, if you're really allergic such that microscopic amounts can trigger dangerous symptoms, then yes, I'd keep that EpiPen right next to the lube.
I like that they say to keep the EpiPen close by and not to just not do it.
So it says, and then it ends with, meanwhile, your boo needs to take into account that they might inadvertently send you into anaphylactic shock with their ass, and they should adjust their diet accordingly. Wow. So I don't know though, like okay, so yes, it can happen, but what is the statistic? Like, what's the number?
How much peanut
10,
butter do I need to eat, and how allergic does she need to be?
or it's like how many people die of rabies? Like die from rabies each year, right? Like it's
Hmm.
such a small number, but
This is the second recorded case ever, but it is
yeah, right. Like
possible.
two people a year die from, you know,
No,
eating ass.
which is nuts for anal.
Nuts for anal.
Actually, that's a great username. I'm gonna make that my next username for whatever social media thing I sign up for.
Well, But that's interesting.
Can't
You
beat.
mentioned who you mentioned Riley Reid, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you talk about like porn stars, right? And like they're doing that all the time. And I know like what you see, like the end result is a lot different than the actual shooting of the scene. But if like I'm allergic to something, do you have to like, hey, we're shooting this scene. I'm allergic to peanuts or sesame or whatever. Can this person like not eat that this day?
I could
Do you
see
think
it
that it
like
gets like down to that nitty gritty?
I guess if it's a problem, like if I eat a lot of peanut butter, or if I eat peanut butter, like I just won't kiss Shay because she says, I
That's
mean,
fair.
like
Yeah.
she's never had the allergic reaction, but we're really careful not to,
So why does
like.
she think she's allergic?
So she's never actually had an allergic reaction, but she went and got allergy testing done
Yeah.
a decade plus ago, and
Okay.
they told her that she was allergic, and they said, but she had eaten like peanut butter regularly leading
So
up to
she hasn't
that.
had any since?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a shame. I
Now,
love peanuts.
okay, so peanut butter.
Hmm.
What does peanut butter belong on? Like, what food items is it acceptable to have peanut butter on?
I've been putting peanut butter on my fucking spaghetti lately.
Stop.
Yes, I have.
Like with
Yes, I
sauce?
have. With what sauce? No, not with like spaghetti
So,
sauce. So I'll just take like, like Dan noodles, like a peanut butter
yeah, yeah,
Thai sauce,
sure.
kind of like that. So I
Oh,
will
okay.
make,
So it's more of like a Thai, like a pad Thai dish
yeah,
versus
but
like, oh, spaghetti and meatballs with peanut
peanut
butter on
butter.
top.
I would try it. Actually, someone said that they would do their, all right, I've never thought about this before. There was a recipe. It was like a Thai chili hot sauce, like
Yeah.
like the in a jar, and it's got like the pepper bits in
Yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
chili sauce. Um, they would add that and grape jelly into a crock pot and add a bunch of meatballs. Okay, so here's your jelly, and then take your peanut butter noodles, and then you have like a peanut butter and jelly spaghetti and meatballs. I
So
want to try that.
you've heard it here on Daddy's the podcast. Eric believes that spaghetti and meatballs should have peanut butter on top. I have actually heard though that I've heard of that kind of recipe before. If you go to
Hmm.
like 30 crock pot recipes that are easy, that will probably be on that list. Now, does peanut butter belong in or on ice cream?
Oh yeah,
You
peanut butter
think so?
ripple. Oh,
See,
oh
I
my
can't do
god.
it, man. I can't
Really?
do
That's
it.
like one of my favorites. Or just any chocolate peanut butter combo. Just like a Reese's.
Okay, so would you rather peanut butter on your ice cream or like some marshmallow swirl?
Now, you do know me as a motherfucker whose favorite flavor of ice cream is chocolate marshmallow. Oh,
Turkey Hill? Mm,
Turkey Hill. I think Turkey Hill might be the only place that makes chocolate
that
marshmallow ice cream.
specific, like that's the best ice cream. I agree with you. The best ice cream on the market,
Yep,
hands down.
yep.
Can't be
But I
touched.
do, but I do really love peanut butter on my ice cream. Just because I
Um,
can get that more places.
so okay, what about peanut butter on a cheeseburger?
I like that too. I
Yeah.
think peanut butter is so all-purpose. Yeah. Two Stones makes a good burger with peanut butter on it.
Do you think that peanut butter is like the utility for peanut butter is like it has a better taste than like mayonnaise?
I don't know. I also put mayonnaise on everything too.
And mayonnaise is a much better, but you can't put mayonnaise on your ice cream. I mean, I
That's
guess you
true. That's
could,
true.
but
Yeah, I would never. That sounds terrible. Yeah,
what
what could
about
be used in more things? I think peanut butter because it could be sweet and it could also be savory. But I wouldn't put peanut butter in a cheesesteak.
no? Well, what about okay? Um, you could have like peanut butter nachos if you do like a dessert nacho.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
remember there's that place Cheeseburger in Paradise and they had chocolate nachos and one of the sides that you could get with it, well, I think was like a cup of peanut butter.
Okay.
Um,
But I need the
but
peanut butter to be like hot so it's melty,
can
right?
you though do a blind peanut butter taste test and know like this is Peter Pan, this is what Jif, this is Skippy.
I can't. I
I
can't tell
don't
the
think
difference
I
between
can
any of them.
either. Do you think
No.
that can people do a blind so like you hear about blind taste tests. Which blind
Um,
taste tests do you think are the easiest?
Get a no, you got to get a sommelier. Actually, the motherfucker. He's the energy drink sommelier, and he takes
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's like, and here we have the Rockstar Classic energy drink, and he pours it out and swirls it around. He says it has legs and
Mm,
it's got notes of.
you have to let it, breathe.
He hits it with the.
Okay, so Do you think that, when it comes to like blind taste testing, that what do you think's the easiest thing to do? Drinks or like food items where it's like um I don't know, like I saw one where it was, what would you say? Like what would be a good blind food?
I mean, similar to peanut butter, but like,
Like, okay, if you put Skittles and M&Ms side by side, you're gonna know the difference between the two based on taste very easily.
right. So you're talking maybe like a knockoff brand and a regular brand, or maybe
Yeah,
like
sure. Like Fruit
Kraft
Loops and Fruit
or
Rounds.
Kraft mac and cheese and
Sure.
Velveeta mac and cheese. I mean, like
There you go.
by the
Or even if
shapes you could tell, because Velveeta is usually shells and
okay,
Kraft
so
is
you do
usually
all like the stereotypical mac and cheese noodle, just the
right.
regular not an elbow. Is it an elbow?
Elbow macaroni. Yeah,
It is an elbow. Yeah.
most of them are. But you can make
Uh,
it. You can make it out of anything. And if you just
sure.
put
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
enough cheese in it, they'll call it mac and cheese,
Mhm.
even if it's shells and cheese sometimes.
Now, when you're making a box of mac and cheese, though, do you follow the recipe to a T, or are you just like, this is probably enough milk, this is probably enough butter, like, or do
I
you say, what is it, a quarter cup of milk or whatever?
I follow it.
Do you?
I'm pretty anal about it. Yeah. But I do feel pretty strongly about it. I think you need to add the butter first, get the butter all melted and coated on every
Sure.
single noodle, and
Yep.
then add the powder and the milk. So when Shay makes it, I come over to it and there's like powder all over the side of the pot because it didn't get incorporated in there, and there's still a little knob of butter at the bottom, and
There's chunks.
it makes me unreasonably upset. Like I shouldn't be mad because the mac and cheese was made that way and the kids still eat it. But I don't know, it just bothers me.
So I I do the same. Actually, I go milk, butter, and then I'll melt the butter, and then I'll put the little packet in because I don't like the clumps. It'll get clumpy, the powder, like the cheese
Hmm.
powder.
Hmm.
But I don't follow the recipe. But we started using one of those butter bells. Like
Oh, the water thing? Yeah, you got some soggy ass butter.
so you take a stick of butter, you let it
Yep.
sit out for say a day, you get it nice and soft. Um, and then you take the top off and you shove the butter in and it fits in the bell, right?
Okay.
And then you take a tablespoon of water, 2 tablespoons of water, you put it in, and then when it goes down, it doesn't really get wet, but it seals the butter in, and then it keeps the butter fresh for like a week or something. And then you take it out, you dump the water every couple days, and you refill it. You clean it with vinegar, whatever. But that top layer of butter does gets a little bit of water on it. Um,
I, I just I just raw dog my butter out,
It's no
and
different than putting it in a dish, dude. Like I feel like if you
it still is covered. Like I don't
it's
have it.
still covered. Now, being a savage would be taking a stick of butter and just leaving it like on the counter in the paper, right?
When
Like that's
when you buy it from the grocery store, just leave it out like you do your apples and bananas.
that's only acceptable to thaw the like or to like soften the butter,
Yep, yep, yep,
but
yep,
not
yep.
for
Like it's about to go in a recipe for cookies or
exactly.
something.
But yeah, so we've been using this butter bell and I guess it's cool. I we use a lot of fucking butter, so
It's tough. It's tough to do it. So I'll usually have like if there's like a quarter stick left of butter in our
yeah.
butter dish, I'll usually take another stick out and put it on the counter, ready to soften. Because I hate going to eat a piece of toast or whatever I'm cooking and have it just be rock hard and you can't spread it on anything.
The knife just cuts through the fucking toast, or
You
it's like
rip
just
your toast
clumps.
and
Yeah,
and it just puts me in a bad mood. I
it
mean,
does.
yeah, you can get a pat of butter and put it on hot enough toast and it'll eventually kind of melt. But like Silas just straight up eats bread and butter. So there's like a hot dog bun and you have to spread it on there. It's not heated up or anything like that. So it kind of fucks me.
So, some people like they just eat like the little pads of butter.
Just
Like
like
they'll
by themselves. Oh,
yeah,
like in the
like
like in the little
if you go
foil
to
wrap.
like yeah, you go to the Olive Garden or wherever and you
Hmm.
get the little pad, they'll eat them. But there used to be, speaking of like buttery things, butter goes really well, obviously, on popcorn, right? Like if I'm
Oh yeah.
thinking like something super buttery or a butter sauce at popcorn. Now, at the here in Delaware, the Christiana Mall used to have a popcorn kiosk, Doc Pop.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
Was that just at holidays though?
No. Uh-uh.
They had it
It
all the
was here.
time?
Yep, Doc Pop, I think was the name of the company. And
Okay.
they went tits up because they couldn't afford the rent. Like, hey, this is way too fucking expensive.
How much do you
And I'm
think
sure
rent is at the mall, at the Christiana Mall?
so let's see.
And it's going to be different for like a little tiny shop in the middle,
So it says the
or
average cost to rent retail space. Oh, this is Christiana, Delaware. I don't know, and I'm gonna assume it's a lot of okay. Uh, it looks like it's like 1,000. It says here $1,000 per square foot.
ew.
I mean, I heard it was astronomical. Now, I don't know if that number is accurate, but you do see a lot of stores, especially now in like the new 2024 Christian Animal, come and go like that. Like
Yeah.
we walk through probably once a week, and we'll say, yeah, that won't be here in a month or two,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the mall now compared to what it was, fuck, when we were growing up,
Those
dude.
were the days. I used to fucking love going to the mall. Ready? Here's the best. Here's the
Yep,
best.
let's
Like
hear it.
it's Friday. My mom drops me off at the mall. I meet my friends, and we stop. We go to the food court, which is where anytime you go and you're going to meet at the mall, that's where you go. That's where you go to
Food court.
meet.
Yep.
You get dropped off there. Well, back then it was the old food court, which is like what 100 feet down from where the food court exists today.
They just moved it. Well,
They,
like because that makes it seem like everything kind of moved with it, and that's
yeah,
not the case.
right,
M-
right.
But that food court, why was that the central hub? And do you remember? So the food court used to have the chairs with the red like backings, and then they had the TVs hanging from the ceilings that would play like music videos and shit.
You know what was always playing when I remember going was what's that? Mr. Bean
Oh yeah, yep, yep,
or so was it Mr. Bean that's Rowan Atkinson?
yep.
Is that
That's Mr. Bean,
and then there was also the little doll, Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill from
And he would
SNL.
was that from SNL? I thought it
Yeah.
was like a Mr. Bean spinoff thing. And he would go, "Oh
Well,
no." But I
I
would
thought
always
it was
remember that being on the TVs.
so, and the old food court was when that food fight happened, and I think they implemented the curfew. I think that happened. So
Really?
how many? I don't remember how. Like I don't know how many years ago that was, but a food fight, and then I think that food fight probably turned physical, and then
Probably.
they implemented a curfew where what you had to be 18 or older unless accompanied by someone who was 18 or older after like 6 p.m. or something. And
On
I think it might.
Fridays or Saturdays.
I don't know if they still have a curfew.
They,
They do they?
I think they do. I think they do. I see the signs, and I also see the signs for gunpowder sniffing dogs. I want to say
They do have so the dog will come up to you and will sniff you, and it's just like that dog is always fucking there, I feel like.
we should test it. Go to Cabela's, buy a box of ammo. Right?
Well, it came up to my pocket one time and I didn't have a gun on me, but I've
That's
had a
good.
gun in like
In that pocket.
you know. But I like that because then it's like, oh, okay, well then I feel more comfortable with police here handling all that than with like, civilians, to be honest.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
um the old food court to get back on that, the old food court, dude, fucking Haagen-Dazs,
Oh,
what
with
was
the
it, an
little,
eight,
what is it,
89
89
cents?
cent soda with the little, it was like the, that old classic 90s look with the
Yep.
blue and purple with the
Yep,
white
just
cup,
kind of
but it was
like
like spray
it wasn't
painted on.
spiraled, but it was like
Yeah.
kind of
One of
zigzag. Yep, yep.
these.
Whatever that design was.
Fuck.
89
Iconic.
cents you'd get a Coke or Pepsi or whatever the fuck they had.
Mm-hmm.
But let us not forget Suki motherfucking Hana.
The real
Su
OG. And you know
Suki
what?
Hana has been there.
I fuck with Panda Express, but Sukihana is the only reason that the Christiana Mall doesn't have a Panda Express, and I'm okay with that because Sukihana does it so much better.
So it used to go, it would go like Haagen-Dazs, I think like Master Walk. What was that? Zeno's, I think was the pizza place.
Yeah, yeah, that
There
was
was
right
like
next to the
there was a hot
Haagen-Dazs.
dog place, I think. But then there used to be the arcade
Yeah.
and a movie theater.
Yep, yep, and they were
Right.
right next to each other, right at the entrance.
And I think so the arcade closed and became Hot
Hot
Topic.
Topic, yep. And the movie theater
And
closed and just became nothing.
nothing.
I
It was
guess,
just
you know what? I guess I don't know if they did anything in the interim, but location-wise, I suppose that the movie theater eventually turned into the new food court. I mean, of course, it
yeah,
was
I think
probably
they probably
demolished,
knocked it down and then that was the new
but there
food
weren't a
court.
bunch of stores that were displaced. I guess that's what that space was
Well,
from.
So Hot Topic came around and like that was so wild to me because they were like, "Hey, here's a clothing store right in the food court, and I didn't know like what they sold. And I was like, "Wait, the shit in here is amazing,
It was so different than anything else.
That's where you
Um,
get your CDs, right?
that's where I stole my first thing ever. I stole uh Dookie,
Oh, Green Day. Okay.
The
All
Green
right.
Day
All right.
album. It was the
Um,
first thing I ever stole, I think.
and then what, 20 plus years later, you finally got to see them play it live.
I did
Look at that.
in
It
its
came
entirety,
full circle. Yeah.
but I left early, so
God damn it.
I love
So
leaving a concert early.
you do.
But
So
that was not the last thing that I stole from the Christiana Mall.
yeah, so did you used to get in fucking trouble at the Cristiano Mall?
I got in trouble for this. Yeah, we would go into the J.C. Penney's and we like had money, like we were working, and I won't say who else was involved, but they know. And
Yeah.
we would just go and we would take one of those big old Foot Locker bags, like the big black and white stripe, like a referee's
Yep. 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 Yep.
uniform. They were
Yep.
massive, and we would just walk around and we would just put clothes in them, sunglasses, nothing real big. It's not like we were snatching jewelry or anything. And then we would just put them in the bags and just walk out. And we
So,
were not caught for so long.
but they knew
They did
or
know.
no?
They did know. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right.
So one day we were just getting too comfortable, and we were like just standing in there with our bag, and we leave, and or we go, while we're standing in there, we go like, "Hey, do you guys want to go to Macy's?" With our bag of stolen shit, we walk through the mall and we walk over to the Macy's. So apparently the people from JCPenney's, they heard, and they didn't have enough enforcement to get us, but Macy's
Okay. All right.
did.
Ah,
So, fuck. Yeah. So we walk over and we do our thing, the same exact thing, and we go to walk out the exterior door. And this is back when I had long hair. This guy was outside. He was like walking up. They must have been walkie-talkieing over the cameras. And he said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I go, "Fuck."
and so you
And they had
knew at
already
that
had,
point
yeah, yeah. As soon as I walked out, that's when they can get you. I guess they can't stop you
in
technically
the
when
store.
you're
Well,
still
because
in
I
the
guess they
store.
want you to commit the crime
Yep,
first.
yep. Well, I
Right? You
think you're
haven't
not
committed
even
a
supposed
crime.
to. Right? Yeah, you haven't committed a crime until you actually walk out with it.
Yep.
But we were all underage, and like, so they like called all our parents,
Ah,
and my one buddy's parents had him put in cuffs to make him like really scared straight.
I did it work.
Um, yeah, I guess like we
Yeah.
stopped it. I think that was when it ended for me. I don't steal the stuff
What
anymore
happens
after
if you
that.
run? What if you ran?
I guess it depends on
Would
if
they
you
chase you?
I'm sure they would have chased me. He had that look in his eye. I think he wanted me to
He
run.
was
The way he
ready.
was looking at
So
me.
if you would have just booked it back in and gone out, you probably could have.
Maybe. I probably could have taken him, but that wasn't me because I also had friends. They were there
Yeah.
inside.
So you all got busted.
Yep. Yeah, we sure did. So I was kicked out of the mall for 5 years, and I was actually genuinely concerned about that. And then they said, "Yeah, and J.C. Penney's and Macy's everywhere on the East Coast for a year." And I was like, "How are you gonna?"
How
I
are
was
they gonna
shook.
afford?
I was shook. I
How did
didn't
they?
know what technology was available to them. Like if they
Well,
would catch my credit card or something. I remember I broke it. I would go into the mall still within the five
and they didn't
year.
say anything to you.
No, no. But I was
How would they
scared.
enforce that? Like,
Just
the-
kick me back out. I was
I think
shook.
it's like, hey, you're a kid, and I'm going to scare you. And I think that it worked clearly. You
Yeah.
didn't steal anymore.
Nope. Nope.
Um, but like, okay, so that was I would say a bad memory. It was
Yes.
probably fun
Yep.
while you were doing it and in the moment. But
It was
what is
thrilling.
your biggest like? What is Christiana Mall?
Yep.
What year would you say? Would you say late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I would say early 2000s because that's when I was like able to go on my own, like without my mom.
Okay, so early 2000s, Christiana Mall, what is the biggest or your best memory there?
I and I think that I know that a lot of people agree with this. I miss the fountains. The fountains were iconic.
There were like the fountains, the smell. just the sound. They were
You
never
could,
really on half the time.
but you know what? You go in there and you make a wish. You throw in 25 cents, and that 25 cents could turn into $1 million. You never
And
know.
sure, and you know what? They had like they were like tiered where you could like walk up and look into it. You know, they had like the little
Hmm.
like landings.
They had the
Um,
big fat one that was like really high, like taller
yeah,
than
yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that shit
Was
was
that the
dope.
one over by where Macy's is, Lord and Taylor, or where Strawbridge's was?
Hmm. I have no fucking idea.
So it
My
used to be,
recollection of like where things exist is very shady.
well, and we were younger, so I mean, you had Strawbridge's, which is now where Nordstrom, kind of in that vicinity.
Uh-huh.
Um, And then there were a bunch of things that I think they just kind of got rid of that section and like added like a new structure. Target is now where Lord and Taylor was.
Yes.
JCPenney and Macy's, they were there like our whole lives. They hadn't
They're the
fucking moved.
OGs. They're the
They are
OGs.
the OGs, and I guess technically Cabela's is also considered an anchor store, even though it's not in the
Right,
mall. It's an
right.
anchor.
They say,
Um,
close enough.
Close enough. It's anchoring the mall down.
Hmm.
But I think for me, my favorite memory was going to the mall. I think I was maybe it was first grade. I went to the mall like every day in the summer to the point where the dude at Taco Bell knew my name and my order. I got
Shit.
three soft tacos, no lettuce, just cheese and meat every day for the entire summer when I was in like first or second grade. And I don't know
Nice.
why that. And then my other like favorite memory, this was even before FYE when it was the wall, and they would
Mm.
you would get a CD and they would give you a sticker that you would put on it. And I think it was like a lifetime warranty. If anything happens, you can bring it back and get a new one. Um, but I just remember going in there and being introduced to so many like so many bands because they had that thing where you could play like samples
Oh,
from songs. And I think
yeah.
FYE had that as well. But
They
like
did.
before, we didn't have the internet to fucking listen to music to see if we liked it or not. We just had to pay what, like 12.99 to buy the CD
I said,
or the
yeah, let me
cassette.
listen to this new Backstreet Boys album.
And how disappointing was it to buy a CD or buy a video game and it just sucked ass and you spent all of your money, or it was like I like one song, you know?
Well, those were the glory. So it wasn't necessarily like we have such freedom with our choices of music now. You don't have to buy a whole album. It's changed the way that music is made now. Because before, all they would really need to do is make one or two really good hits, and you
Hmm.
have to buy the album if you want those one or two songs.
Yep.
So those were the days when I would at least do this, download the music on my computer, and
Hmm.
then I would have those track listings that I would use iTunes to do this. And I would be
Yep.
able to make a playlist and then export that playlist and burn it onto a CD so that I did have a super cut of CDs. But then they also had, now that's what I call music, to
And
which
now
my
that's
first version of that is number 4, which holds a special place in my heart.
so I feel like now that's what I call music. Dude, I got my first now that's what I call music from New York, and it was a bootleg copy from one of the little street vendors.
They
Um,
burned it the same way I did.
oh yeah, and like the cover, like the album cover, was just printed off like a brother, you know, and it looked like shit. But I also used to spend ridiculous amounts of money on not only music but like DVDs. Like I used to really like buying movies and VHS tapes and I guess DVDs were also pretty relevant. But dude, KB
Yes.
Toys at the mall, like that to me, that was one of my favorite, and it was expensive. There's a reason they're not in business anymore, just like Toys R Us, but they were expensive, but there was something about it, man.
Yep. KB Toys was fun. It was like
Yeah.
you'd always have to run and you have to hit the same stores. You'd always hit the EB games.
Yep.
You'd always have to hit the KB Toys. You'd always have to hit. Do you remember that there was this little thing, like I don't remember the name of the store, but it was like a tunnel that you could crawl through as a child. Do you remember that? It was in the mall, and it was like just like a tunnel, like you're at a playground, and you crawl through the pipe.
It wasn't a bookstore.
I don't think so. I think it was like a clothing store.
I think of okay, tunnel. So I don't remember that, but I do remember shit, what was oh, the fucking pet store. Dude, I got my first dog from I think it's a jeweler now over by GameStop, but like it was a fucking pet store.
I think so too. Yeah, and the fucking mall used to stink when that was open. Shay got her first dog from there too, or her first dog
Yeah,
when
well,
she
yes,
was
it did used
little.
to fucking stink.
Hmm.
Um,
I actually poured over some like old like people like commenting on old pictures of the
yeah,
like
yeah,
the Christiana Mall, and they would say like that. I mean, like there are people that remember you used to be able to smoke in the mall, which of course you
yeah,
could smoke in most public places.
yep,
Once upon a time ago,
yep.
what pre-90s, I guess.
There used to be, I feel like obviously there were a lot of different like places to eat, but it's wild that McDonald's can't last at the Christiana Mall.
I wonder what
It
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 is.
McDonald's and Taco Bell, they just typically don't stay around. No
Is it
wonder
because
why.
all the rest of the food is fast enough anyway that there's no real incentive to walk in and get your
That
fast food?
And like too, like I feel like if I'm sitting down at the food court, you have probably a little more time too. Yeah, so it's fast, but also like I'm going to go and get like Sukihana, right? Like I'm gonna get Japanese or Chinese food versus like, well, I can get a McDouble really whenever. So, and they
Hmm.
could never
Yeah,
get it right. I think they added in a Five Guys, which a Five Guys makes sense.
sure.
Makes sense.
Just
But it also
as long as you're
I've
all right
had
with paying $25.
$25 and it takes a while. You're
Hmm.
getting your food fresh as fuck, but
Hmm.
that comes with having to wait. Um, but I used to go to the mall and I remember when I was old enough to like walk around by myself
Hmm.
and I thought it was the coolest fucking thing to be able to like just go into stores and like obviously I had $0. I had no fucking money, but
Oh, you
like
were
to
just
just
window shopping.
and it was amazing, dude. Like it was like,
Hmm.
well, normally I had to like go with my mom or my grandma or whatever, and they would kind of guide you. But like I was doing it by myself. And then, you realize like, okay, well, you can go buy your own food, and then it's like, fuck, man, like Taco Bell was still $10. I didn't have that money either. I had like a five. I still couldn't get my full meal and shit.
I don't know. Taco Bell's always been like the cheapest option.
Do you
Mm,
think that Taco Bell is still the cheapest fast food option if you don't do like combos?
I just did it the other day. $4. I was full. Two bean burritos. That's all you need. That's all anybody ever needs.
Not the cheesy rice bean burritos.
No, just a straight up bean burrito.
So
It's
there's just
good.
no rice in there?
No rice.
Ugh.
Wait, there might be a little rice. I don't. Yeah, you know what? I don't
Was it
remember.
219? Are you sure it's not the same thing I'm getting?
Yes, I'm sure. It's less than $2.
Oh, okay,
It's
yeah,
got.
so this is 219
It's like
and
a
it comes
dollar 89. So two of them was less than $4.
no drink.
No drink. Water. I drink water because
So,
healthy
um,
and plenty
well,
of fiber. Actually, you got me
well,
thinking. What is in a fucking bean burrito? Taco
while
Bell.
you're looking that up, let's talk about the Krabby Patty.
Yeah, we definitely had that.
So, Wendy's rolled out the Krabby Patty meal, and you get the burger with the like what is it, the secret sauce,
Mm-hmm.
fries, and a like it's a pineapple mango frosty.
Frosty. Yes.
So, what was your experience? Yay or nay?
Burger, mid.
Yep.
Because first of all, it's just Wendy's. Like
Yeah.
it's just a
It
what
was a
Dave's hot and
Dave fucking
juicy.
hot and juicy.
Yeah. Which like I've had worse. I've had better. The
Sure.
sauce didn't add anything that made it life changing. So the
Yeah.
burger was I don't know, 6 out of 10. But
Okay.
the frosty was a fire. That was very good. And I would like it if Wendy's introduced more flavors to their frosties in general, just like that. I think they could go somewhere with that.
So to mirror what you're saying, I've been seeing a lot of people saying like, "Hey, keep this frosty all the time, all
Hmm.
the time." So my experience was different, right? The everything was piping hot. The burger was fucking flawless, right? Like
Mm.
the lettuce was perfectly round. Like it didn't go like it normally the lettuce is like sliding off, Everyone
Yeah.
knows what I'm talking about. The lettuce is like off, everything's dude, it was perfect. Just the right amount of sauce. It was my favorite Wendy's trip. And I
Wow.
wasn't even like I was like starving, where it's like you kind of get those
Everything's gonna taste
rose
good when you're
color. Yeah,
starving.
yeah, yeah, right. No,
Hmm.
I was very like just regularly hungry.
Yeah.
And Dude, I loved it. But we tried to get the other day the Big Mac, like the chicken Big Mac.
Hmm.
Those motherfuckers were sold out of Big Macs and chicken Big Macs all together. Sorry, can't have either.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it would be that good.
the
It's just
bun.
a chicken
It,
sandwich with Big Mac
dude, sorry, don't
sauce.
have that. So they must have been out of the buns, right? The sesame buns.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so
Because they still
then
had burgers and chicken.
they still had burgers and chicken. Like, you could still get a McDouble and a McChicken.
Hmm.
Um, but I also saw the Adams Family Whopper is now out, and it's a like a purple bun, and it's a Whopper just on a purple bun with onion rings and whatever, like on the side. But didn't they already introduce something like that, and it was turning everyone's shit like
Oh,
black or like
it was the black
green,
it was the black Whopper,
and it
wasn't
was
it?
turning everyone's shit green, right?
I think so. But that's what
So
like that happens to me when I eat too much like sugar cereal with a bunch of fruit dye
yeah,
in
if
it.
you eat a
You're
fuck ton of Lucky Charms, your shit will be green. But,
By the
but
way, I pulled up the ingredients for the Taco Bell bean burrito.
okay,
It's
what do you got?
warm refried beans, cheddar cheese, diced onions, and red sauce. That's it.
So look up the cheesy rice and bean burrito.
Cheesy rice and
That
bean.
is so fucking good. Um,
Cheesy rice and bean burrito. It is refried beans, seasoned rice, warm nacho cheese sauce, creamy jalapeno sauce, and a soft flour tortilla. That does look good. And
I
if
get
it's not that much
four.
more,
I get four, two for lunch the next day, two for whatever meal I'm having,
you said they're a
because
little
they've
over two
reheat.
bucks.
I think they're 219,
That's
something
not
like
that
that.
bad. That's not that bad.
And we're in
Um,
Delaware, people listening, so no tax here.
hey, which is also one of the benefits of the Christiana Mall.
Yes. So, dude, do you want to talk about the Apple bus?
Oh yeah, so we have an Apple store in the Christiana Mall, and there will be it's literally tour buses full of people visiting the States from China, and they line up, and there's a whole separate line. This is probably usually close. Actually, it'll be coming up soon, like close to the holiday season.
Yep.
And there's a whole separate line, and they siphon in a half a dozen of people from that line at any given time, and they just kind of funnel them through, and they buy the maximum number of allotted Apple products or iPhones, and then they take them back. But they save so much money on not paying taxes on those devices. How much?
Yeah. So,
How much is
so
sales
it,
tax for a device like that, like in Pennsylvania?
yeah, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna assume that they all come from New York. I think they take the bus
Mm.
from New York, and I don't know what New York like I don't know what New York sales tax is. It is 4.5%. Um
4.5%. Damn, Pennsylvania is 6%.
so once again in Delaware we don't pay sales tax. So it's hard for me sometimes to like remember that like when you go somewhere and you buy something, like you're if you pay for something like do what you pay, the price you see here. If something's 59.99, it's 59.99. When you go somewhere else, it says 59.99, but it's actually like 67.92. Um,
Damn. So 6% on the on $1,000 iPhone is an extra $60.
well, and that's the thing. So imagine buying a car or jewelry, and a lot of times you'll see commercials where they will say like, "Hey, you pay your state's sales tax." So I'm curious, which state or like what's the most that someone has ever spent on sales tax, like going somewhere and like the unexpected shock.
Fuck. Yeah. That is, yeah, I don't want to do it. I'll just keep shopping in Delaware.
Well, and that's why people come. So they come for the iPhones, but they also or Apple products in general. But also like people will come from New York or Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC because tax-free shopping. The Christiana Mall is very nice, and there's a lot of shit there. Um,
Yeah, there's nice premium stuff too.
hmm
It's not
Well,
just
it's almost too much premium stuff now. Where
it's too
it's
premium
like,
for me. I still go window shopping. I still can't afford it.
well, like they started adding new stores in, and they're just still like I'm not shopping at the Coach store. I can't afford fucking Nordstrom.
Right.
Um, and they've implemented like new mattress locations and like I don't know, man. I think that the Christiana Mall is too expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
But people do come from no sales tax. Shit, I'll drive.
Yeah, but what about dying malls. Like the malls in general are just like they're not going to last forever. I don't know how the Christiana Mall has done it. Maybe it's just that tax-free shopping, but I don't know how they exist. How yeah, I guess it's just fascinating that malls are starting to die. Um
And they
and
like more rapidly too. Like now, like every week I'll get on, the internet and I'll see like so and so mall, and I don't know what mall it is, but it's like come with me as I go through this mall in Wisconsin. So what do you think did it in? What do you think was the biggest mall killer?
mhm. Amazon, e-commerce, just being able to
Right?
buy your shit online. Yep. Um Fun fact, two fun facts. Do you
Okay.
know where the oldest mall in America is based?
I'm gonna say Oklahoma.
Minnesota.
Okay, all right.
Guess where the largest mall in America is based?
I'm gonna say Minnesota.
Also Minnesota. So there ain't fuck all to do in Minnesota because it's so cold. So they just build shopping malls
That's
and
all they got.
and do shopping malls.
Well, isn't Minnesota, is that where Mall of America is?
Yeah, that's the biggest one. Yeah, the Mall of America.
So, like, e-commerce has killed brick and mortar because one, it used to be like, okay, I want to go try my clothes on, right? Well, then Amazon made it where, hey, you can buy five things and like not pay or whatever. Or these companies are like, we'll send you a box of shit, try it on. If it fits, keep it. We'll charge you. You don't want it, send it back. Musical instruments, right? Like that used to be, oh, I want to go to the like the mall or the music shop or whatever. Well, now, half the time they don't have the shit in stock, so I'll just buy it online. If I don't like it, I'll send it the fuck back. You
Mm-hmm.
can get everything online without having to see. Shit, when we bought Jenna's car, we bought it without seeing it, and they
That's
said,
how I.
"Okay, just come pick it up at the dealer." Same with you, right? Like it
Yep.
was like, "Hey, you
Mm-hmm.
know,"
That's how I bought my Tesla. Yep.
and it's just convenience to the consumer. And that to me, life is fucking busy enough where if I can be if something can make my life easier, I'm gonna go that route.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's where we're at. I brought up dying malls because I think Kevin Smith wanted to film Mallrats 2, and he was going to use the now defunct Granite Run shopping
Granite
mall in
Run Mall.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
But I guess that didn't go through. Like they didn't end up filming the movie or something.
A- And I'm pretty sure I think that ended up becoming housing, I think, and like they gentrified it probably. I mean, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Um, but you think of Delaware, we have what, three shopping malls, right? We have the Dover Mall, the Concord Mall, and the Christiana Mall.
Hmm.
66% of those malls are fucked. And in terms of like, dude, the Concord Mall has been dying for years, and I feel like too with them, the company that I think owns that mall owns the fashion center at the Christiana Mall. So they've invested all their time and money into that. That's profitable. That's successful.
That's wild that they can't do it right like twice. Like why can't they just bring that success over to
Dude, the anchor
Concord?
store, one of the anchor stores at the fucking Concord Mall is literally a Sears, and Sears is dead. There's
No, well,
nothing in there,
I guess that's
and they just
why.
haven't
Mm,
replaced it. And then the Dover Mall is next to a casino and the racetracks, but same thing. Like people would rather, I feel like, just drive 40 minutes or from Dover to go to the Christiana Mall.
You know what's notably missing from these malls? Those malls, actually, because the Christiana Mall kind of has one. They need sex toy shops
Sure,
because the
there is
Christiana Mall has
Spencer's.
Spencer's. I think that they
Is
should
there a
just straight
Spencer's
up
at the
pop.
Concord Mall?
I don't know. I don't go to the Concord Mall ever, but I'm going to assume that it's missing from there. I think that they just need to drop the facade and straight up open like an Adam and Eve sex toy store.
It looks like there is a Concord Mall, Spencer's.
Hmm. Okay. Well, then I don't know why they're
Now,
not
granted,
doing
if
well.
it's still open, I don't know. But even so, like Spencer's is another really interesting one.
That
Like
was another
how
stop
they
that I had to hit every single time.
and but like okay, the toys like the sex toys from Spencer's, they're not S tier, right?
No, they're like a starter kit.
It's like the if you've ever bought anything from Adam and Eve, spend $50 and get $100 free goodie bag,
Yeah,
and
and
the
you get
shit
a
that
bunch
comes in
of
there is like, what the fuck?
what the fuck is this piece of shit?
It's like always some little like it looks like some sort of like alien growth that I think you're supposed to put on your fingers, and it's got like little spikes coming off
You
of
got
it.
and you're supposed to hit her with the
Yep. That's always in the bag, like a DVD with like two scenes probably.
oh, and they're really
Um,
terrible.
they're really bad. So how Spencer, but that's where Spencer's, I feel like they shine. Like we sell like gag gifts and sex toys, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's their thing. And college kids and high schoolers, like they love that shit. That shit's funny as fuck to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And their t-shirt game is strong too.
I remember I bought something from there, and the guy was like, "Do you want batteries?" And I was like, "Do I need batteries?" He's like, "Not if you." He said, "You don't need batteries if you want your hand to hurt." I was like, "Oh, okay,
Sure.
right on, right on." Um, but Spencer's is another one. Like, if I woke up tomorrow and I heard Spencer's closed for good,
Yeah.
you know,
Wouldn't be
not a
surprised.
surprise.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite store at the mall now? Would you say any mall? It doesn't have to necessarily be the Christiana Mall, but
I don't go really go to any other malls.
yeah,
Um,
same.
shit. I mean, I won't say GameStop because it's sad, and I don't actually buy
GameStop
anything
makes me
from there.
sad every time I go in there. Like every time you and I feel like I only ever go in there with you,
Uh-huh.
and it just depresses me every goddamn time.
You want to talk about good nostalgic feelings? Every single Call of Duty drop, I would pre-order it from the mall, and I would go there at midnight or like 11 something, and I would
Yep.
wait in line inside the mall, and it was a lot better because they always drop like this time of year, so you could
Mm-hmm.
wait inside, and then but you talk to people too,
Mm-hmm.
and be like, hey, what's your gamer tag, and inevitably never play with them.
And I don't even think that midnight releases are a thing anymore.
Yeah, because
Like I
digital
don't think they
downloads. Yeah.
digital downloads or you buy it on Amazon and you get it the day it's released. I mean, like they'll get it to you, but it's digital. And that's sad. Like, and it used to be you'd pre-order and you would get pre-order exclusives and they would print out the receipt and on the receipt there would be a code.
Yeah, you feel like
And
you won something by doing that.
dude, it used to be such a I I think we talked about this before, but when Batman Arkham Asylum came out, I just remember being so excited to get that giant package
Mm,
and like but
phrasing.
now well it certainly wasn't mine but like dude we went into GameStop that not that long ago and the guy was cool but now every time we go in there are less games and also like less Funko Pops and it used to be like okay no games but they had like random collectibles now they didn't even have that the last time we went in.
Yeah, they look like they're clearing out, ready to move out of the mall.
They're clearing out, and that's gonna be a sad day. But that's just the way it is,
If you
right?
ask for what my favorite store is now, though,
Yeah,
it's not even my favorite. I guess I don't really like that many stores in the mall.
yeah.
But since I don't really do much shopping for myself, I guess I have to say like when I take the kids there, they really like
Mhm.
the Lego store, and the Lego store is pretty cool.
I like the Lego store a lot. I think it's
Yeah.
just fun, and it's the only thing that kind of makes you feel like a kid, right?
Hmm.
I do like Barnes and Noble, like walking through there.
That's true.
Um, the smell of books. I don't read books, but I like the smell of them. You
People
know,
too stupid to read books anymore.
I don't have the patience, man. Like people who
Hmm.
read. Okay, so, do you believe in after you read a book, you just throw it the fuck out, or do you save it forever? Like you
You
get to take
save
it
it.
back. Do
You
you?
save it, and it's like your body count. You put it up on the
Sure.
wall. You put it up on the wall, and you say, "Hey, I read that book."
Did you ever see that video where the guy goes and he's like, "Hey, what's your body count?" And it's clearly asking about sex, but the one guy was like, "Three." He's like, "Wow, only three?" He's like, "Wait, what do you think body counts? Like, what do you think that is?" He's like, "How many people I've killed?"
Killed?
He's like, "Oh, okay.
You've
Well,
killed
have a
three
good day.
people?
Bye." Um, I I haven't purchased a book in a while. The last book being the one that Naomi sent us. That was the
Oh
last
yeah.
book that I've gotten. And it's been, I just don't, and like even comic books, like I don't have time to read them either. And I love comics, man. Like reading comic books is my shit. I just don't
Hmm.
have time for it, man.
Yeah. Too much podcasting.
too much podcasting. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think that the malls, like dying malls, is sad, but it's inevitable. But it was a nice walk down memory lane. So thank
It
you for
was.
that.
It was nice. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, until next time.
Yes. Until next time.